Hello, everyone. This is the Finance Committee. This is Tuesday, March 24th, 2026. It is 6:40 p.m. I'd like to call this meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America
and to the
to the
republic
republic which
for
stands
one
one
nation,
nation
under
under God,
Indivisible,
indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Under Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20F, this meeting is being recorded. On March 28th, 2025, Governor Healy signed into law a bill which extends the temporary provisions pertaining to the open meeting law to June 30th, 2027. Specifically, this further extension allows public bodies to continue holding meetings remotely without any quorum of public body physically present at a meeting location and to provide adequate alternative access to remote meetings. This language does not make any substantive changes to open meeting law other than extending the expiration of the temporary provisions regarding remote meetings from March 31st, 2025 to June 30th, 2027. Well, hello, welcome everyone. I'm going to do a roll call of who's here. So myself, Karen Rouse is here. Al Lees is present. Yes. Cindy Brown is present. Zach LeBrew. Christopher Thrasher. Gary Carrero.
Present.
And so absent, Hugh Morton did indicate a while ago he could not attend this meeting tonight, so he is not here. Duncan Law indicated to me he should be coming in around 7, so we'll be on the lookout for Duncan. And I have not heard anything from Nancy, so I'm expecting her, but I do not see her on the meeting presently. So we'll just have to pay attention to when they pop in. All right, well, tonight is the night. It is the night we've waited for to get all our recommendations on the annual town meeting. So Chris just emailed us the newest version, and that's version 8. Is that right, Chris? Do I have that right? It's version 8. And
version 8.
And the changes are legal language related. No additional articles, no changes to anything, nothing substantively different than what we've been doing, but we're just on version 8.
That's correct. Okay.
So we can go off that one and do everything. So I've emailed everyone. So where we left off last week was in terms of the financial budget. We had all had discussed and come to a conclusion of what the budget was. And right after the meeting, I did send that off to everyone that was intended to be the budget that we would be voting on tonight. Chris did, I'm sorry, I don't think I have my monitor on. Sorry about that. There we go. Sorry. So Chris had done his number searching and there was some cherry sheet assessments that needed to be updated. So they're pretty insignificant in relation to it, but it's worth cleaning up the version since we're going to be approving it tonight. So I sent everyone that budget change today, and I put in the column. So the changes, so you have the original select board budget that was approved in February, and then the changes that just got made to primarily change the cherry sheet assessments, and that's sort of a revised select board budget. And then we take it from there as the finance committee. So the same $80,000 change that we proposed at the last meeting is still in the budget. So there's nothing changed other than the updating the select board budget. Duncan Law just came in and it's 6:45. Did everyone have a chance to look at that? Are they comfortable with the presentation and what's there?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes.
So it's always good to true it up to our best information that we have. So thank you, Chris, for catching that. So It's easier to fix it now than try to do a motion, change it in a motion on town floor. So it's much easier now. All right, so we can go right through. We can start with Article 1 and go right through the articles if we want to do that. I'm going to, is there anybody that feels comfortable sharing the warrant so we can just see it on? It's hard for me to share it and run the meeting and look for questions and answers.
I'm happy to do so. I have it up on my screen.
All right, thank you, Chris. That's great. Thank you.
Karen, can I make a suggestion? I know we might have done this in the past, but maybe waive the rules to read the entire, every article. Are we just summarizing, right? We're not reading the entire verbiage of the article?
We are not reading the entire verbiage, no.
Okay.
Yes, no, we did. I remember we did that one year and that was quite a task.
Yeah.
Well, I think Nancy just joined us. Hi, Nancy.
Hi, how are you?
Good. 6:45 for Nancy as well. You didn't miss a beat, Nancy.
Oh, good. I thought I was reporting late for class there for a second.
Well, you are, but we had a little technical difficulty.
Okay, good.
The only thing that you did miss was we talked about a very small change that was made to the budget today. Did you get a chance to see that in the email?
I did. I
Okay.
did. I'm fine with that. Thank
Are you
you.
comfortable
Yeah.
with that? Okay, great.
I am. Thank
Can you
you.
see that on your screen? I think
Yes.
I pulled it up. Just want to make sure you.
Yes, yes. All right, so we're about to go through, start with Article 1, and we're not reading every word of the article. We're summarizing it. And before we get started, I just want to, anybody who will be listening to this meeting after the fact may hear us, will hear us going right into the articles and talking about it and making recommendations. So as we've stated in previous years, we've talked about all of these things in various meetings starting in December. We've held budget meetings with all the departments. We've talked about all the budgets throughout, starting in December. We've talked about the fiscal budget with Chris here at every meeting, every step of the way as the select board has done the budget. So many meetings, we've talked about all of the things. So tonight is the night where we've already had the discussions and we're ready now to go through and make the action. So when someone might hear us looking at an article and just voting, it's not that we're just voting on something. It had been previously discussed at many meetings. So I just want to make sure that's clear. All right, so Article 1 is prior year bills. If anyone has no comments, then we can entertain a motion in a second, and then we can go into deliberation and then vote.
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
Second,
Thank you. And any discussions on this article at this point? Nope, okay. Jess, I'm going to try to do the roll call in the same order. So this way, when you get all the motions this way, you're all set. So I'm going to try to do the same order every time. Okay, so no discussion. So Al?
aye.
Thank you. Cindy?
Cindy Brown, aye.
Zach?
Zach LeBrew, aye.
Christopher?
Christopher Thrasher, aye.
Nancy?
Nancy Stanton Cross, aye.
Duncan?
Duncan Law, aye.
Gary?
Yes.
And Karen Ross, aye. Thank you. All right, Article 2 is the line item transfers going from, there's 3 of them there. We've talked about all those, but again, if there's a motion.
Motion to approve?
Second?
Second,
Thank you. Any discussion on this article? All right, I see no discussion, so I'll do a roll call. Al?
Al Lees, aye.
Cindy?
Cindy Brown, aye.
Zach?
Zach LeBrew, aye.
Christopher?
Christopher Thrasher, aye.
Nancy,
Nancy Stanton Cross Eye.
Duncan,
Duncan Law, aye.
Gary,
Yes.
and Karen Ross, aye. Thank you. All right, we'll move on to Article 3. That is the appropriation to the stabilization fund. So as we had reviewed with the budget last week, there was a schedule of all the free cash. And so on that schedule had a proposal of going to the stabilization fund, 182,068.
And that
Motion
number
to-
has not changed, right?
It's not changed. That is the same number, yes. So if there's a motion and a second, then we can deliberate.
Motion to approve?
Second,
Thank you. Any discussions? Just making sure no one's hands up. Nope. Okay. All right. So no discussion. So then I'll take a roll call. So Al,
Al Lees, aye.
Cindy,
Cindy Brown, aye.
Zach,
Zach LaBrue, aye.
Christopher,
Christopher Thrasher, aye.
Nancy,
Nancy Stanton Cross Eye.
Duncan,
Duncan Law, aye.
Gary,
Yes.
and Karen Ross, aye. Thank you. All right, Article 4 is the appropriation to the Capital Stabilization Fund. And in accordance with the schedule we had, that is an amount of 182,068 as printed in the warrant.
Motion
Move to
motion to,
recommend.
appro- yeah, motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussions on that? All right, so I will take a roll call. Al,
Al Lees, aye.
Cindy,
Cindy Brown, aye.
Zach,
Zach LaBrue, aye.
Christopher,
Christopher Thrasher, aye.
Nancy,
Nancy Stanton Cross Eye.
Duncan,
Duncan Law, aye.
Gary,
Yes.
and Karen Ross, aye. Thank you. All right, the next article is Article 5, the appropriation to the Special Education Reserve Fund. And the article has 91,034. And again, that is in accordance with the schedule that we reviewed last week.
Motion to
Motion
recommend.
approve.
Second,
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on that? Okay, I will, I hear no hands, no discussion. I'll go to a roll call. Al,
Al Lees, aye.
Cindy,
Cindy Brown, aye.
Zach,
Zach LaBrue, aye.
Christopher,
Christopher Thrasher, aye.
Nancy,
Nancy Stanton Cross Eye.
Duncan,
Duncan Law, aye.
Gary,
Yes.
and Karen Ross, aye. Thank you. All right, Article 6 is the creation of a stabilization fund for collective bargaining in non-union personnel agreements.
Motion
So
to
this
approve.
is to establish the fund. All right, okay, we got a motion to approve. Second?
Second.
All right, any deliberation on, any discussion on this?
No.
All right, so we'll go for a roll call. Al,
Al Lees, aye.
Cindy,
Cindy Brown, aye.
Zach,
Zach LaBrue, aye.
Christopher?
Christopher Thrasher, no.
All right, thank you. Nancy?
Nancy Stanton Cross, no.
Okay, Duncan?
Duncan Law, aye.
Thank you. Gary?
Yes.
And Karen Rouse, aye. All right. All right, the next one is, let's see, sorry, Article 7, right? This is the appropriation for the stabilization fund for collective bargaining in non-union agreements. So
Motion
this
to
is, okay, go ahead.
Second.
Thank you. So this is to fund the previous article of with $108,000. So just a quick deliberation. So I just have a couple of comments on it. So I've been on the fence on this one. Gary last week did raise some interesting points where it's working in the town of Dartmouth, although it's a fairly new article, right? 2 or 3 years that you've been working with it. So I'm on the fence with it because it, in one sense, it really does feel like there's a targeted funds that could go against the negotiations, but I'm in favor of it with the caveat that let's see how it goes. So if it gets funded and if it turns out in a future year that it is disastrous, then, there's the option to not fund it in the future. So that's just kind of where I'm on the fence with that. But go ahead, Nancy.
I had already stated when we had a discussion on this that I don't like it in principle, but I also don't like it in application because there's no mechanism for how it would be done. So written as is and approved as is, we've got all these different unions and non-unions and no mechanism for how, because the unions negotiate at certain times of the year. So first ones in get, first bite, we got to take this, and the people that are negotiating those contracts know that it's there. And I just don't think there's a mechanism in place to make it fair across the board. And so in theory, I don't like it, but I could probably live with it if there was a plan for application, and there isn't, and that's why I'm not in favor. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. And I appreciate it. Anybody that's not in favor of something, I'd love to hear the deliberation of it. So to understand that too, because I like to hear all sides, and, again, I'm on the fence, so it's appreciative to hear. Gary, who has that? Gary, you've got your hand up, right?
And Chris does too. Chris
And then
Mattel.
Krista. Thank you.
Yeah, so in Dartmouth and in multiple communities, but I can only speak for Dartmouth, it's been more than 3 years. We've had this probably for 6 years now, and I can appreciate that there's no, or maybe, and Chris can maybe chime in a little bit more on this, that we may not envision a procedure, but I think there is two separate issues, two separate results out of this. As I mentioned last week, it's planning ahead. It's also independent of what contract negotiations would be settled at. I mean, this is only a funding source. It's almost like I can imagine when the stabilization was first, established in communities where they said, well, you're pulling money from the general fund. What's the mechanism for using that? Well, we know the mechanism is a funding source. That is truly what a stabilization fund is, only a funding source, not to be persuade one way or another, whether it's, contract negotiations, or we need to use a stabilization for a rainy day, or et cetera, and any kind of fund that we have that's putting money aside. So I want to be clear that in practice, and I've used it for negotiations, it is not a mechanism for a union to say, wow, there's 100,000 in 10 years, there's $1 million. We know that that's earmarked for our union. That is not the case, and that is not the reason why this should be looked at as appropriately being set up that way.
Thanks, Gary. Go ahead, Chris, and then Cindy.
Yeah, I suppose my only comment on that as well is that, when the town enters contracts, really with any contract, we're looking at, what is it that the town can afford, right? And obviously this is, how the town funds it, whether it's through free cash allocation, whether it's through revising lines, I think, as Gary said, that this is a tool for the town. So I think whether or not the town utilizes it, utilizes it in full, in part, for some things, not for other things, I think it allows that flexibility. And I would just say, with regards to the process, to pull money out of this fund, this has to go back to town meeting, right? So I think there is that check and balance there. And again, just based on my experience, and same experience as Gary has mentioned, that's been something that's gone back to town meeting and discussed and approved. So, to your point, Karen, I think this is new, or for the community, and certainly, I'm a little more than cautiously optimistic. I'm optimistic that it's going to be a good tool for the town. However, I think again, just like with our other stabilization accounts, our free cash, we want to make sure, however it's used, it's being used responsibly and sustainably. So, thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Go ahead, Cindy.
So I have one comment and one question. If it's in a stabilization fund, the question first, if it's in a stabilization fund, what mechanism releases it from the stabilization fund? So the regular stabilization fund needs town meeting. I know the special education fund only needs the select board and the school committee. What mechanism triggers the release of funds out of that account? Chris, do you know?
Town meeting vote.
So a town meeting vote on the regular stabilization fund, I think I'm right in this, it's 2/3 vote?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you need a 2/3 vote to release that. Okay, so that's one part. The second part of this, so let's say next year, we don't tap into it and we add another $100,000 to it. Now there's 200,000. My only concern about this is that we're actually funding contract increases with free cash. So whatever that current year budget is, that these new wage increases would be applied for, there's a little bit, it would be a little bit out of whack in that we're funding operations out of free cash, using the pay increases out of free cash and that year's budget. So then the next year you'd have to do kind of a big catch up, because that current year's budget would not reflect the salary increases. So, if there were enough in there to cover them all. So I just feel like the budget would get out of whack for a year, and there would be a little bit of a surprise. Oh, by the way, don't forget, you've got to now add double the increase in your budget the following year, because the current year you didn't have to apply the increase, and now next year you have to absorb the previous year's increase and that one. So we're kind of on a regular roll here. People know how to absorb their budget, their salary increases into their budget. I just don't like the mechanics of it as to what it will do to the budget process for the managers, for the people that submit the budget. And also, as was indicated earlier, this does not cover school personnel. And that's where, quite frankly, the biggest, is no secret about that, obviously, the biggest source of salaries, because the biggest sources of employees are within the schools. So I'm not completely sold on the necessity of it, given the size of the payroll on the town side, that it will throw things out of whack. It's a lot of money. You need 2/3 vote. Suppose you don't get the 2/3 vote. Now you've got a budget that's already been put together without salary increases, because you're counting on that account to fund it. Suppose 2/3 of the town meeting doesn't approve it. Now what are you going to do? So I think it just creates problems.
Thanks, Cindy. Chris, is that your hand back up? I think it is, right?
Yeah, and I guess just similar to using free cash and one-time funding, right? I mean, I think how the fund is utilized to assist the town when it comes to personnel cost over time. What I would say, I'll give an example is, let's just say you had a contract and it took multiple years to settle. And a lot of times you have to go back and you have to retro pay that, right? And so in the year of the impact, there's, I guess, two ways to look at this, right? And obviously, again, there's multiple funding sources here. So, one example is rather than it hitting in the given fiscal year where the settling happens, right? And then it's impacting your free cash allocation, your capital for that year. This, again, is an option that the town would have available um, again, to be able to aid with some of that, some of the easing of the implementation of that. So, I think again, that's one option, one way of, how communities have used it. But again, I think that this is something that is new for the town, and certainly as we move forward, we'll watch and hopefully have some able to have some success with this here.
Thanks, Chris. Nancy, go ahead.
So I really liked what Cindy had to say. She pointed out several important points. At the end of the day, you're line iteming something for payment of union contracts, but you are excluding from that your biggest employer of personnel. So you're using the town tax dollars, and you are inequitably providing a catch-all funding mechanism for all of the unions in the town, with the exception of the schools, which is the largest employer. So I don't think that that's an equitable use of funds for everyone in the town, because it's not across the board. And maybe if it was across the board, I'd think differently. And maybe specifically if it was, I think Chris made a viable point with that catch up for a retroactive application of a contract negotiation. And maybe if it said to be used for retroactive collective bargaining agreements, and it was made to include the schools, I think that that would be equitable. But as it's written, and I just think that it's on its face, it's not equitable. You're not including all of the unions in the town. So I don't know how that's fair. So that's just my opinion.
Chris, can you, before Gary, Chris, I know we had just voted on the establishment of the fund in the previous article, but is there anything, there's nothing in the article that says that the school would be precluded, right? There's nothing.
That's correct. And,
So
and I don't, and I
be,
think we had
right?
some conversation at a prior meeting, and Nancy, I apologize because I don't recall if that was the meeting that you were out. But it's one of the things I had mentioned at that meeting was, when we had a previous discussion on really, the purpose and the goals of the article, from my seat, I'm looking at it through the lens of the town side. I wasn't looking at it through the lens of, the benefit to the school. And that's not to say that this article couldn't be a benefit to the school based off of, again, the flexibility it offers and how it's written, but just solely through, again, my lens, that's kind of how it percolated forward in terms of an idea worth, the town's consideration. I would say, again, similar to the other conversation, my experience has been that when it comes to contracts and negotiating them, obviously from the school side, I don't have direct involvement in that. So when it comes to obviously the long-term, funding needs of the school, I'm always available to sit down and talk with the committee, Superintendent Roy, the members, just like any other, article within the budget. But I think that is just one thing, at least for this, I just wanted to make a note of, that there was no intention here of being inequitable. It's just, again, giving the town as a whole more financial tools for, what is a very large part of the budget overall. So, Karen, I hope I answered that your question.
Yeah, so I think because in a previous meeting, we had discussed that the language did not preclude any union from those funds. And so that was kind of my basis on when I supported that recommendation of establishing it. There's nothing that precludes any union from using it. So I didn't feel it was inequitable because there's nothing written that says it is inequitable. Gary, go ahead.
So, I can understand Nancy's point about maybe on the surface, it looks like this article is not available for the schools or, not there for funding in the future. But I think what this town and I've been on this committee for 15 years struggles with is long-term planning. Not having resources available when we need to negotiate contracts, when we have to purchase items, capital items, so on and so forth. And, how many times now of recent we've had to hire employees and bring them in at a higher level, at a higher step. That puts a lot of strain on budgets. And serving on the personnel board, I wanted to know what those amounts would be. We're bringing in, the town administrator at a certain rate. We're bringing in to attract people. So I think it's more than just money sitting in an account. It allows the town flexibility to move forward with, in 3, 5, 10 years from now, obviously salaries are going to increase. I mean, that's just a given. And I think it's short-sighted to not look at that, not look at the progress of that, and not look at planning for salaries out into the future. We see it. I mean, I know that school sees it. It's hard to retain people. It's hard to attract people. So this gives the town another tool to look. I mean, it may take us 3 to 5 years to build this account up for it to even be anything that's worth discussing. But this, in my opinion, is the proper use of free cash. Along with capital items. It just looks forward instead of us trying to catch up every single year with funds that are not there to be spent. And I'm always an advocate of let's plan ahead. Let's look at the next 5 years. Let's see what the workforce is going to look like, because we're going to be paying a lot more. And that's just the name of the game if we want to stay competitive and retain the employees that we have.
But
So-
Gary, what happens if it doesn't pass at town meeting? What happens if you don't get a 2/3 vote at town meeting to release those funds? How are you going to go back and redo your budget that you just did probably to the penny in figuring out what your resources are? You're taking a big risk at town meeting that you're going to get a 2/3 vote to release that money. What happens
Town
then?
meeting, town meeting will vote as it should and as it will. It's the education process that goes along with this. It's letting the town know that, listen, we have an issue in town and we may not want to talk about it, that schools can't retain people. Health insurance is too high. What does the next 5 to 10 years look like? And town meeting, knowing that, are going to want to have the best employees that we can, the most qualified employees that we have. So it's education. But this is just a mechanism. We may be 3 to 5 years before we drain on this account, but I go back to planning, and any town meeting member or anybody that goes to town meeting is going to want to see that. I've heard it from the public that, the capital items, for instance, why aren't we funding this particular item? Why do we have money sitting in free cash? We have, equipment in disrepair. Again, what sells me on this is the planning and what this account can do, not next year, but the next go around when we have contract negotiations. That's really what this is about. It's education and retainage and attraction of employees. And we've struggled with that. And we still do.
And we
You know,
will.
Yeah.
So,
and-
so, it's interesting, Gary. So I agree with some of the things that you said, and then I have challenges with some of the things you just said. So I agree, it never hurts to have a flexible pot of money that's there to be used in a way that it's needed. I would be more supportive of for example, what Chris had said, where when you have a union contract that's retro that goes back 2 or 3 years, so the retro piece falls into there. I don't really agree with if somebody is hired at a higher amount than was budgeted for as a replacement, that you use this funds for that, because that's only going to take care of it for 1 year. When you get into the next year, that increase is going to be needs to be baked into the budget. So you can't tap this fund every year for that incremental piece. So you're just setting yourself up with a budget. So I support some of it, but I don't support other aspects of it. So I appreciate these are examples, but in they're dollars that are flexible, it gets funded. And then when the time comes, we'll all have that conversation. There'll be a warrant article looking to use the funds in some way, and then we can make recommendations for or not for that particular use. But I appreciate the examples of the flexibility, but I don't agree with conceptually some of the things that we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I can appreciate some of the conversations, but again, I'm only speaking on the successes of it and it being used in practice. And I wouldn't sit here and recommend an article if I didn't think it was financially sound and it wasn't really what we want for long-term planning in the town. I just keep going back to long-term planning because, we lack that in some cases.
Yep. Thanks, Gary. Al, we haven't heard from you, so go ahead.
I just wanted to echo basically what Gary has said, so I don't need to go into any elaborate detail. I can understand what you're saying, Karen, about using this pot of gold, if you will, and then the next year there's no pot of gold in there. But we need to plan. We need to look to the future. We can't be going hand to mouth in this town every year after year after year, without having some mechanism to fund the future, whether it's 1, 3, 5, or 10 years. So I just wanted to echo my general support for what Gary had been saying.
Thank you, Al. Nancy, I think you've got your hand up.
So during the course of this conversation, one of the first questions were, does this include the schools? And the answer was no. And then as we continued the discussion, it was, well, the way it's written, it wouldn't preclude the schools to have use of that fund. So what's the answer going in? Do we have a definitive stance that this would be for all unions? And then the other issues would flow as to whether the mechanism is there, whether it's a good thing, funding it in one year and not having it in the next. Those issues obviously are viable, but I want the answer. Is this going to be for all of the units, collective bargaining units across the board? And if it is, then that takes care of one piece of my issue. But we've heard two different things. The first question was, oh no, the schools aren't involved. Well, there's nothing that precludes them. So are we saying it's our representation to the town? This is for the town across the board. And this is us being good financial managers and, looking for the future. That might have a different spin. I still don't like it as it's written. I think that I like the retro piece of it. But we're in a town that is always catching up and nip and tuck of every dollar. So if we're going to blindside ourselves and think that this isn't going to come into play sooner than you think it's going to come into play while you fund it, given our problems with funding to begin with, I think it's going to be used much sooner than we would think. So again, the question is this across the board or isn't it? Because that answer needs to be very transparent before the town. Because if it's, oh no, this is just for the town side, I think that people need to have that before understanding of that.
Chris, go ahead.
So as written, it offers the flexibility. And again, I think in working on this article and presenting this article, the discussion has always been, again, to offer the town as a whole the flexibility. Again, I use the retro as one example, but I also don't necessarily want to say that that's the only option or thing out there that we could benefit from this funding. And I think to Karen's point that she mentioned earlier, just like with any stabilization fund, right? Or, usage of free cash, there's a lot of conversation that goes into that, if one-time funds are being expended, whether that's through an individual committee or, certainly here in this forum, but what I would say is going forward, that's a conversation that's going to need to be had, and I think as Gary said, there's a lot of education that needs to go into that. And, if in the future, this is something where, again, there is a request put out there to say, hey, is this, this fund, is this source a good use of those dollars? Then I think that's a conversation to be had, right? Again, so that, if that request does go to town meeting, it's with the idea that it's, being used responsibly and obviously sustainably over, the multi-year period, the period of the contract. So, that's my take on it. That's, certainly, again, I can't foresee every, potential use in the future, but again, as it's written, I think it provides the town with the flexibility, to address problems as they arise or address new challenges or issues as they arise. So, thank you.
Thank you. Gary, is your hand still up or is it
Yeah.
up again? Or okay,
Yeah,
go ahead.
One last comment, and this is to Nancy's point. This is one town, and and I would hate to see that the account gets funded in the first year and they get spent in the next year. I think we build it up. The plan is we build it up, and we hear the request from the schools, and that's equitable. We need to make sure, and I'm not just talking about the municipal side. I'm talking about the schools, that we retain the people that we need to. We pay a competitive wage, and I would not support this if the schools weren't included. That's just, I mean, we're one town. This isn't, I think the adage of it's the town side, it's the municipal side, we kind of have to maybe shy away from that a little bit. And if the schools came and said, well, we need a portion of that, or the town came and said we need a portion of that to get by, yeah, I would be in favor of that. That's what this account will do in years to come. I'm not saying that we're going to fund $1 million in this account in the next year, but it's a start. It's in the right direction to get these contracts fulfilled and to and I keep saying it, we retain and we are able to hire with competitive wages. And so I would only support this if it was for the entire town.
Thanks, Gary. Yeah, and I agree too. I mean, when we discussed in a meeting that it did not preclude the schools, then that made me more comfortable. There's nothing in the language that precludes. So it's an open, flexible dollars.
Yes.
Anyone else? All right. Are we in a position we're ready to take a motion to have a motion to on this
I
article?
think
We already
we
have the
already got it.
motion. Yeah,
Oh, we
already have the
do?
motion.
Oh, we
Yeah.
already do. That was the long deliberation. See, I forgot. All right. So with no more deliberation, I will take it to a roll call. Thank you. Al,
Didn't hear you, Al. You're on mute.
My wife wishes that I had a mute button, I think. Anyway, Ally's aye.
thank you. Cindy,
Cindy Brown, no.
thank you. Zach,
Zach LaBrue, aye.
Christopher,
Christopher Thrasher, no.
Nancy,
Nancy Stanton Cross, no.
Duncan,
Duncan Law, aye.
Gary,
Yes.
Karen Rouse, no. And, I'll just say the reason I said no, I'm on the fence and I'm in support of it, but I would like to see a more policy and a procedure and more a meeting of the minds on what this would be used for before we fund it. Thank you. All right, so we'll move on to the next.
Just so you know, Karen, so that
Yeah.
was split. That's 4 yes, 4 no, because you Morton is
Oh.
not here.
Okay,
Just so you know.
all right, well, that is what it is.
It is what it is. So
Oh, that is the recommendation. We are split down the middle. All right. The next article is Article 8, which is the authorization to borrow in anticipation of revenue. So that's one that comes up every year. So the treasurer,
Motion to approve, motion to recommend.
thank you.
Second.
Any discussion on that? All right, I'll do a roll call. Al, are you ready to vote, or did you we're going to make a comment? I think he's ready. All right, so Al?
I have a comment and
Oh, go ahead.
then I will vote. Yes. My comment is that it's always tricky to authorize the treasurer in anticipation, especially considering maybe not the the town side, but the state side of revenue because of their position that they're in. So I am right smack on the middle of the fence on this one, and I'm usually not. So my vote is
Do you want to deliberate for a second? Do you want anybody?
yeah,
else?
just for if you don't mind, I don't want to belabor this point, but
Yeah, to me, it's a standard, just in case something happens during the year and something comes up and the treasurer does need to borrow for some reason, for something, they have the ability to do that without having to go to town meeting. So,
all right.
I think it's, to me, that's the element of that.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a standard article,
Right.
in every town meeting that I can remember.
Okay.
Go ahead, Nancy.
So is this, so it's standard, but there's no capping language about what that loan could be. Is that my understanding? Like, there's no cap.
That is correct.
Well,
Right.
how it typically would work is that it would be based on the anticipated revenue. So that's why it's kind of worded the way it is. It's borrowing in anticipation of revenue. So you wouldn't be able to borrow more than you were expecting to receive. So it's, I don't know how else to explain it. Gary, what's the language for that type of borrowing? It's
Yeah, so it's
revenue anticipation note. So it's
well,
RANs.
not necessarily. So this allows the treasurer to, let's say, for instance, we were planning to build a brand new school or a highway facility. This gives the treasurer authority through the select board to enter into purchasing bonds. Basically, that's what this is doing. This is not, it has no, whether it's a TAN, a RAN, or a bond or a ban. This just gives the treasurer the ability to do that. That's all it does. It
All right.
doesn't say that we're going out and borrowing $100 million for a highway department. All it does is give them the authority to do that in case, it's kind of an antiquated article if you think about it, but under Mass General Law, town meeting has to give the authority to the treasurer to do that.
Right. And just to further, Gary, so the treasurer couldn't go out and incur debt that it wasn't already, the principal and interest wasn't already in the budget to pay for. So it would be in anticipation. So there's no new debt that can just miraculously pop up.
No.
Okay.
But great questions. Nancy, is your hand back up?
Well, it's the lawyer in me. It
Yes.
doesn't say you can't do it. It doesn't say you can, the treasurer has the authority to take a loan out with the expecting of the revenue to be it contingent upon the revenue coming in. And right now, and I haven't been here that long, we're constantly, the revenue, what we're going to have is always a bouncing ball to begin with. So it's always going to be, hopefully that it's there, it's expected, but sometimes something gets pulled and it's not expected. And it doesn't say that. It's a general authorization without it saying, we're specifically saying it should be used for this and it only can be for this and based on what the revenue is going to be. But it doesn't say that. So you're taking you're doing a carte blanche and expecting that this to be used as a fiscal proposal, but you don't have any further definition of what the boundaries are for that. We know what we want the boundaries to be, but as it's written, there are no boundaries.
So Karen, this is a
Go ahead.
standard article that's written in a lot of town meetings, and the stopgap is the Board of Selectmen and ultimately town meeting, and then ultimately the voters. So it just the first step of that is the Board of Selectmen that would put a project on the warrant. Then let's just say that the warrant, let's say let's say it's $100 million highway department building. Town meeting would then put that on the ballot if it was a debt exclusion. Without that, without this article, the authority for the treasurer to borrow, we couldn't borrow the money. So this is only allowing the treasurer to borrow the money after stopgaps have been put in place. Board of Selectmen, town meeting, and ultimately the voters for debt exclusion. There's really no much. I can't explain it any more than that. There's really. It's not like the treasurer can go out and borrow on her own and incur bills and rack up. This only under Mass General Law. This allows her to do that if, in fact, it's gone through those processes. If it goes through those processes and this water article isn't voted on, we can't borrow the money. Sounds backwards, I know, but it's just.
Great.
But
Thanks,
what is
Gary.
it?
Right. Christopher, you've got your hand up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I certainly recognize this is a standard article. It is funny. I have often wondered about the specific language, having seen this in previous years as well, as to where are the rails for this. So I'm going to be voting yes, of course, because it is a standard request. But I am curious if the language has evolved over the years to be as unguarded, I guess, as it is.
Thanks, Christopher. Yeah, I mean, in the way I read it, it's in anticipation of revenue. So it's something that's in the budget that's already anticipated. So again, it's not this new debt to pay for a truck that, it's all in the budget, into anticipation of revenue. Go ahead, Chris Vitale.
Just on the language itself, I'll just make a note that every single year town council reviews this. So if there was ever a concern or there was ever a change that was needed, council, just like with all of our other articles, does make sure that those guardrails are in place and, that we're in compliance with, the authority that a lot of this comes from through Mass General Law. So if there was ever changes, in the state law, where we had to be more specific here, or if there was, again, those required changes, we would work with them on this, as we do with the other articles. So thank you.
Yeah, you think of it too, Karen, as or even Nancy, as the revolving funds. Without the authority of town meeting, those revolving funds can't be spent. It's just a mechanism that allows more transparency than anything else, that it goes to town meeting and town meeting says yay and nay on this article. The revolving funds, any financial article. This is just another one that no financial impact because it has to go through those steps. But without this, we wouldn't be able to borrow any money. Not to say that we would, but it's just an insurance in case we have to.
Great, thank you. It looks like no other questions. So are we ready for a roll call? Okay, I'll start with Al.
Al Lees, aye.
Cindy,
Cindy Brown, aye.
Zach,
Zach LeBrew, aye.
Christopher,
Christopher Thrasher, aye.
Nancy,
Nancy Stanton Cross, aye.
Duncan,
Duncan Law, aye.
Gary,
Yes.
and Karen Ross, aye. Thank you. All right, Article 9 is the acceptance of the Capital Improvement Planning Committee report and funding of capital.
Motion to recommend the listed items.
Thank you.
Second.
Any discussion or deliberation on that? I see no. All right, so I'll take a roll call. Al,
Al Lees, aye.
Cindy,
Cindy Brown, aye.
Zach,
Zach LeBrew, aye.
Christopher,
Christopher Thrasher, aye.
Nancy,
Nancy Stanton Cross Eye.
Duncan,
Duncan Mott, aye.
Gary,
Yes.
and Karen Ross, aye. Thank you.
Karen, can I just ask one question? Not that I'm
Sure.
not just maybe because on the HVAC for the school, is that a complete system or is that a repair? I guess.
That would
Upgrade.
be that would be a significant upgrade. There is the Macomber School has very limited AC or HVAC functionality. So there are some units that are in the building now, but it is a full upgrade to the system.
Okay, so that work will be done in the summer. I'm assuming, right, when school's out.
That is correct. It would not take place during instruction.
Okay, thanks, Kristen.
All right, thank you. All right, Article 10 is the salaries and stipends of elected officers.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second,
Any discussion? All right, I'll go to a roll call. Al,
Al Lees, aye.
Cindy,
Cindy Brown, aye.
Zach,
Zach LeBrew, aye.
Christopher,
Christopher Thrasher, aye.
Nancy,
Nancy Stanton Cross Eye.
Duncan,
Duncan Mott, aye.
Gary,
Yes.
and Karen Rouse, aye. Thank you. All right, Article 11 is the fiscal 27 budget appropriation. As we talked earlier, we had our meeting last week that finalized it. We had a very small change that got made today, about $20,000 relative to fixing up the cherry sheet assessments. And so the updated budget would be the budget that I'm asking for a motion on.
So moved.
Second,
As printed.
Thank you.
Can,
Any
can
further
somebody
dis-
can somebody say the dollar amount, Karen? You have the dollar amount for the record?
The dollar amount of the whole budget?
Full budget, yeah.
1 second, Gary.
I'm just thinking so the folks at home can.
Sure. Of course, I don't have that one up, but 1 second. And I think we can get the budget, I'm sure, on the town website shortly after this meeting. All right, so the total revenue is 59 million. Whoops, 1 second. Sorry, let me make sure I have the right one. 59,366,400 is the total revenue of this budget. Oops, sorry, I said the wrong number. It's, scratch that, it's 60,105,067. And that
Six-
includes
60175.
60,105,067.
Okay.
And that
thank you.
includes 426,050 of free cash.
Pardon me, Madam Chair. So the additional change that had been previously discussed is that is going to be taken up during the free cash articles. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, ask that again, Christopher?
So the $80,000 change that had been previously discussed, that's going to come up in the free cash articles. Is that correct? Or is
Nope, that would be in this article, so.
so you would need a motion for
This is the
that?
budget, we would be making a motion on the budget as a whole, which so John, I was just pointing out that includes 426,050 of free cash. So that does include the 80,000 that we had discussed in our previous meeting. Which was
Excellent. So
80,000 additional from what the select board had finalized.
So the motion on the table right now is the finance committee recommended budget. We don't need a further motion. Is that correct?
Correct, right.
All right, thank you.
Yes, yes. So does anybody have any, do we have a motion in a second yet?
If not, we'll do it again.
Let's do it.
So moved.
Second,
Thank you. Any other discussion on the budget as a whole as presented? Okay, I will, do a roll call. Al, Lees,
Ellie's aye.
Cindy,
Cindy Brown, aye.
Zach,
Zach LeBrew, aye.
Christopher,
Christopher Thrasher, aye.
Nancy,
Nancy Stanton Cross Eye.
Duncan,
Duncan Law, aye.
Gary,
Yes.
and Karen Rouse, aye. Thank you. All right, Article 12 is the funding of the Marine Services Enterprise.
So moved.
Second,
Any discussion? All right, roll call. Al,
Ellie's aye.
Cindy,
Cindy Brown, aye.
Zach,
Zach LeBrew, aye.
Christopher,
Christopher Thrasher, aye.
Nancy,
Nancy Stanton Cross Eye.
Duncan,
Duncan Law, aye.
Gary,
Yes.
and Karen Rouse, aye.
We're halfway there.
I know. I was just looking, are there other enterprise? Maybe we can do them all at once. Do you think? We've got Article 11, which is the water
Shellfish.
lines.
Yeah, and shellfish. Isn't that separate from marine services? No?
And the town, Article 14's the beach.
We'll just do them in order.
I'll just do them one by one?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
This
13.
painstaking process. All right.
Right,
All right. So what article are we on now?
13.
13. So Article 13 is the funding of the water line enterprise.
So
thank you.
moved.
Second,
Any discussion? All right, I will do a roll call. Al,
Ellie's aye.
Cindy,
Cindy Brown, aye.
Zach,
Zach LeBrew, aye.
Christopher,
Christopher Thrasher, aye.
Nancy,
Nancy Stanton Cross Eye.
Duncan,
Duncan Law, aye.
Gary,
Yes.
and Karen Rouse, aye. Nancy, isn't this exciting stuff?
Fascinating. Love it.
This is your first time through this one.
It is. I'm glad that there's not so many warrant articles, just saying.
All right, Article 14 is the funding of the town beaches enterprise.
So moved.
I'll second that. Any discussion? Nope, roll call. Al,
Ellie's aye.
Cindy,
Cindy Brown, aye.
Zach,
Zach LeBrew, aye.
Christopher,
Christopher Thrasher, aye.
Nancy,
Nancy Stanton Cross Eye.
you said aye, right? Yep. Duncan,
Duncan Law, aye.
Gary,
Yes.
Karen Rouse, aye.
Sorry
Article
to cut the line, Cindy.
Yes. Article 15 is the funding of community television.
So moved.
Second,
Any discussion? I'll do a roll call. Al? Oops, wait,
Al.
someone raised their hand up. Go ahead, Nancy.
How much is left in this fund? I know it's not this. Do we know that number?
Ooh,
Fortunately, I don't have that in front of me, but I can certainly have Nicole follow up with what the balance is of that account.
Okay, thank you.
Gary, go ahead.
So this question is for Chris. Chris, is there a concern going forward for the access grant money that we get from Spectrum, that now that communities are no longer a lot of residents are no longer on cable and they're streaming or whatever, is there a concern that the fund will somewhat diminish over the next few years? Or
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be something of a slow decline, and I just think when it comes to these type of agreements that the town enters into, and as I'm sure you know, it's very, I don't know if monopolize is kind of the right word here, but it's a very structured process with similar outcomes community by community. So I think everyone's kind of seeing the slow decline. I think, at some point it's going to be something that I'm sure the state's going to look at, have to get involved with. But in the meantime, yeah, I mean, it's something that, we'll have to be mindful of. It's not going to be in the next couple years, but certainly, when these contracts come up for renegotiation, after the set period of time, that's when you'll see the change.
Do you know when our contract expires?
I don't, but if you want to give me a couple minutes, I probably could find
Oh,
it.
no, that's fine.
in
I
my
know
records.
it's a 10-year contract, right?
Yeah.
It was
Okay.
just, I think it was just renewed a year or two ago.
Oh, okay.
I believe
Yeah.
we're on the first half of it.
Okay, so we have time, sometime at least.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a motion in a second on this already?
I believe we do.
All right, then, if no further discussion, I'll do a roll call. Al,
Al Lees, aye.
Cindy,
Cindy Brown, aye.
Zach,
Zach LeBrew, aye.
Christopher,
Christopher Thrasher, aye.
Nancy,
Nancy Stanton Cross Eye.
Duncan,
Duncan Law, aye.
Gary,
Yes.
and Karen Rouse, aye. All right, the Article 16 is the established fiscal 27 maximum expenditure limits for revolving accounts. That's listed in the warrant.
So moved.
And a second? Any discussion?
Second.
Thank you, Al. Any discussion?
This
Alright,
is
I'll-
Chris. I just have one
Oh, go
note
ahead.
I want to make on this article. So this article, it's going to be tweaked by council a little bit more, but this article serves two purposes. So the first is setting the maximum expenditure limit. Also, the couple of these accounts are increasing, the highlighted ones that are noted here on the screen. So those amounts are going up from prior years. So I just wanted to make a note of that for FinCom's attention.
So does the language change with the legal beagles, or does the expenditures change?
So the expenditure, the dollar amounts don't change.
All right.
The legalese is going to change, more or less, for the intent of the article. The intent is to set the maximum expenditure limit, also including the fact that some of these have increased from what their prior amounts were.
All right. So aren't we really mostly concerned about, I know how expenditures can change, and that's the legalese, but from a dollar standpoint,
That's all.
this is locked in. This is locked in.
Yeah, the dollar numbers are not changing.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, anything else? All right, so we have a motion and a second, so I roll call, so Al,
Al Lees, aye.
Cindy,
Cindy Brown, aye.
Zach,
Zach LeBrew, aye.
Christopher,
Christopher Thrasher, aye.
Nancy,
Nancy Stanton Cross Eye.
Duncan,
Duncan Law, aye.
Gary,
Yes.
and Karen Rouse, aye. Thank you. Article. Thank you. Article 17 is the acceptance of the, whoops.
Sorry,
Just lost
CPC.
it. That's the CPC. Thank you.
I'm rushing here.
Thank you. That's CPC. Any motion, please?
Motion to approve.
I'll second. Any discussion?
Could you scroll down, please, Karen, to see what the funding projects are? Because I
Oh, that's
may,
right.
I may have
Oh.
to recuse myself.
both Al and I need to recuse ourselves because the
Yes,
Historical Society, the Bell School item is on there, but you still have 6 other voting members, so.
Right, we're fine. Okay, great, thank you. Do we have a motion in a second, right? I'm getting lost now.
Yes,
Yes, thank you. All right, if no other comments, I'll, Al? I know you're just gonna say.
abstain,
recuse.
he's gonna
I
abstain.
abstain,
Please
abstain,
say,
yes.
thank you. I'm just asking you to say it, so thank you. Cindy,
Cindy Brown, abstain.
thank you. Zach,
Zach LaBrue, aye.
Christopher,
Christopher Thrasher, yes.
Nancy,
Nancy Stanton Cross, yes.
Duncan,
Duncan Law, yes.
Gary,
Yes.
and Karen Rouse, yes. Thank you. All right, we're waiting for a little scroll. There we go. Article 18 is the appropriation for the water line enterprise rate study.
So moved.
Thank you. Second? I'll second it. Any discussion?
Karen, can somebody just give a brief, like 2 minute or a minute?
I think Chris Vitale can do that.
Excuse me.
Hi Gary. Yeah. So this is, the town's essentially our water department. Approximately 200 homes are serviced every year. The select board sets the rates, the user fee rates. We purchase water from Fall River at a certain price. There's a set markup that has been the past practice. I think when you look at this as an operation, if you were looking at a town department, there's not a dedicated full-time staff person that's overseeing this operation. The operation itself is, the functions are separated and spread across multiple departments and staff. So there's not really a full picture on it. And I think one of the things as this operation continues to grow and expand and add more customers to it, there's going to be additional capacity that's going to need to be put here into the operation as a whole. So I also note that fund, at least in the last few years, has been pulling from its retained earnings. And so I think the goal here would be to look at what is the cost of the town, what investments do we need to make into that operation, and ultimately go to the board with a recommendation on any changes that would be needed for that fund.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Chris. All right. Sorry, do we have a motion in a second on this?
I don't know. So moved.
Let's do it. Thank you. I'll second it. Any other further discussion? All right, I'll go do a roll call. Al?
I think he stepped away.
Oops.
Catch him at the end.
Okay, we'll catch him at the end. Cindy?
Cindy Brown, aye.
Zach?
Zach LaBrue, aye.
Christopher?
Christopher Thrasher, aye.
Nancy?
Nancy Stanton Cross, aye.
Duncan?
Duncan Law, aye.
Gary?
Yes.
Karen Rouse, aye. And let's see if Al, are you back? Nope. All right, we'll keep on moving. So Al temporarily stepped away, so
Right. We'll leave
keep-
that open. Leave it
Yeah.
open.
We can leave it open. I guess we can have him go back in after.
Right.
All right, so Article 19 is the appropriation for replacement roll-off container. for
So
the train
moved.
station. Thank you. Second? I'll second that. Any discussion? All right, I'll do a roll call. Al, are you back with us?
Nope.
All right, Cindy?
Cindy Brown, aye.
Zach?
Zach LaBrue, aye.
Christopher?
Christopher Thrasher, aye.
Thought we lost you too. Thank you. Nancy,
Nancy Stanton Cross Eye.
Duncan,
Duncan Law, aye.
Gary,
Yes.
and Karen Rouse, aye. I know this is such exciting stuff. We're on the edge of our seats here. All right, so the next one is Article 20, which is the appropriation for retention of foreclosed tax title properties. Okay, so,
So Al is back. Do you want to go back to 18 and 19?
oh, Al, we missed you and you didn't vote on
Oh.
18 and 19. If you want to register.
I
your-
would like to say aye for both.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Welcome back.
Thank you.
All right, so Article 20 is the appropriation for the retention of foreclosed tax title properties.
So I can't really read this on my screen. It's too small. Chris, is this the one that sets the amount, or does this just give? So this one sets the amount of up to 5 million?
That's
Is
correct.
that
So
what
this
I'm
was,
kind of reading? All right.
yeah, so and I can try and zoom this in. But following up on the board conversation, I think we had talked about the dollar amount that the board had talked about at our last meeting. However, council did review this. This is one of the articles that is still under review, just again, because the laws are so new around this. But yes, this would be a $5 million request in the form of a borrowing.
Or up to 5 million, right? Not necessarily a $5 million borrowing, but
Yeah, so I think the intent of it is as properties became available that the town was looking to retain, this would be a funding source for that. So, any given property may or may not be $5 million. It might be $500,000 or $750,000. So, it would be highly unlikely that that full amount would be
Would it always be included debt?
impacted.
Would it always be included debt or excluded debt?
So the discussion with the board would be excluded debt. It wouldn't be something that would be within the town budget.
So even if it was as small as 500,000, 500,000 we would probably absorb, but well, maybe not, because I don't know where we would come up with $500,000 even. So even if it's something as small as 500,000, she would use excluded debt to pay it back. So this has to go to two votes, correct?
That's correct. If it moved forward,
Right.
that would, yes.
I think there's a better shot if it were a lower number.
Yeah, I'll just note that there was some board discussion around that. And I think one of the points that was discussed was just the cost of real estate and properties. Depending on the size of the property and the location within town, you realistically funds, maybe a couple of purchases. But I think they said 5 million just again, so that you wouldn't necessarily have to go back to request, additional authorizations to borrow, again, within a certain amount of time. So that was kind of some of the discussion with the board.
great. Thank you, Chris. Christopher Thrasher, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So because it's my understanding the language on this could change, the number could change. Are we planning on meeting again between now and town meeting? I would assume at least if directly before town meeting we would be meeting. Is that correct?
Yes, so it's a good question, Christopher. We certainly, if this is up in the air, we can certainly not make any recommendations tonight, and we would have an opportunity at a future meeting to do that if we so chose. So absolutely. So we would be meeting, yes, again. And if, as Chris Vitale has been talking with the select board, the finance committee recommendations would not be in the printed warrant. They would be a separate standalone sheet of paper. So that changes that logistics very much, where otherwise we would need to be voting today to get it into the warrant for it to be finalized and printed. But having the new opportunity to have it again as a separate sheet gives us a much further time before town meeting to change something or make a recommendation.
Excellent. So I do have some concerns, or more questions, and it sounded like some of the questions I had were similar questions being asked by the select board as well. So at this time, I would actually move, Madam Chair, that we table the motion to time certain our next meeting.
That sounds fine with me. Is everyone okay with that?
Yes.
Great. All right.
Yes.
So we are going to hold. Great. All right. So we will hold on Article 20 for a future meeting.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Article 21 is the appropriation for a public safety training sessions.
So moved.
Second,
Thank you. Any discussions? All right. I'll roll call. Al,
Al Lees, aye.
Cindy,
Cindy Brown, aye.
Zach,
Zach LaBrue, aye.
Christopher.
Oh, you're on mute, Christopher.
Yep. Christopher Thrasher, aye. Sorry, too many buttons. Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you. Nancy,
Nancy Stanton Cross Eye.
Duncan,
Duncan Law, aye.
Gary.
Yes.
And Karen Ross, aye. Thank you. Article 22 is the appropriation for grant matching funds.
How much is that?
That is 75,000 of free cash.
So moved.
Motion, second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All right, roll call. Al,
Al Lees, aye.
Cindy,
Cindy Brown, aye.
Zach,
Zach LaBrue, aye.
Christopher,
Christopher Thrasher, aye.
Nancy,
Nancy Stanton Cross Eye.
Duncan,
Duncan Law, aye.
Gary,
Yes.
Karen Ross, aye. Thank you. Article 23 is the appropriation for school technology.
So moved.
Second,
Second,
thank you. Any discussion?
Karen, one question. Maybe
go ahead.
Chris or Nancy can answer this. Is this more for like hardware, or are we replacing like Chromebooks? Is it?
Christopher, if you're answering, there you go.
Yes. So basically, this was pulled out from the original school department requested budget. It would be having to do with our replacement program for Chromebooks. As you may recall, last year we started working on a kind of a tiered rolling replacement approach, as opposed to all in one. Doing a one lump sum of replacements all at once. So this would be part of that for sure.
So this isn't obviously not buying Chromebooks for everybody. It's complementing, replacing old and getting rid of the old and replacing the new. Do we repair them in house, or?
Certainly, and this is what this is part of what was considered in our recommended, the school committee's recommended budget. This would be I think the second or third year of a rollout for replacement that, again, does not have a single lump sum or single lump year where everything is replaced. Instead, we've got everything on a rolling 4 or 5 year schedule.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Anybody else?
Chris Vitale has his hand up.
Oh, I think it's been up. I think it was an
I
accident.
think, yeah, I think it was back from the tax title. I just think I wanted to make a note at the time that the $5 million was voted on by the board. So the dollar amount is not changing. It would just be the legalese necessary for the article. So I think that was my only point, but it was tabled. So
Yep.
thank you.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second on the table.
Correct. Al has his hand
Al,
up.
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, I'll go back to the tax title. The number is too high. I can't support it.
I think it's too high. I mean, we haven't had any significant tax title takings in many, many years. And even if we were to start, I mean, I think it would be a while. And the thought that we would have property that we would want to retain and not either sell back to the family or sell at market within that time frame. I mean, I think it's too high as well.
So I know we're not voting on that tonight, but I just wanted to weigh in on it.
Great, thank you.
So we had a motion and a second on Article 23.
Right, and if no further discussions on that article, I will go to a roll call. So Al,
Al Lee's aye.
Cindy,
Cindy Brown, aye.
Zach,
Zach LaBrue, aye.
Christopher,
I will expressly abstain from this vote. Thank you.
okay, Nancy,
Nancy Stanton Cross Eye.
Duncan,
Duncan Law, aye.
Gary,
Yes.
and Karen Ross, aye. Thank you. Article 24, the acceptance of a personal property tax bill exemption.
So moved. This is the one for eliminating small properties of low value, yeah.
Right.
Under $10 or $100 or whatever it was.
Right.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is any further discussion on this article? All right, I'll
Karen,
entertain-
what is
oh, go ahead.
does anybody know what the impact of this is? Like, what are we talking? I mean, it really can't be a lot of money, I guess.
I think
Probably
it was
administratively cost more to send the bills out than the money that it would collect. I think that was
Okay.
sort of the premise.
right. Between the postage and the clerical cost to process the bill, it's more than what it is worth.
Right.
More than a stamp.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll tell you, I don't mail much anymore, but I had to go and buy stamps the other day. Holy cow. Stamps have gotten pretty pricey. I hadn't bought stamps in a long time. You know, I had forever stamps from forever ago and I replenished them. I couldn't believe how much more stamps got, but I digress. Sorry. Go ahead. Article 24.
All right, so we're going to go to a roll call. I think we're ready.
Oh, yeah.
Al,
Aye.
Cindy,
Cindy Brown, aye.
Zach,
Zach LaBrue, aye.
Christopher,
Christopher Thrasher, aye.
Nancy,
Nancy Stanton Cross Eye.
Duncan,
Duncan Law, aye.
Gary,
Yes.
Karen Ross, aye. Thank you. Article 25 is to amend the personnel bylaws. This one probably is not financial related. So I
it doesn't.
don't- This is our first
It's-
one
Yeah.
here tonight.
It is, I'll just on that point, I do not believe it is. This article is still being worked on by town council. And I guess Cindy just doubling your hat for the personnel
Yeah.
board. So just council is going to be making some more specific changes within the draft language. Because there is some language that they want to retain within the existing bylaws. So they're going to pull out what they, feel meets the intent that I think we were looking for as part of the proposed article that you see here. So if you're tabling the other discussion on Article 20, the committee will have enough time.
Yeah.
And I'll also note there that I'll send over the draft to the personnel board. And if
Okay.
if council also wants the finance committee to weigh in, we'll also get that over to finance committee as
Typically,
well.
yeah,
Yeah.
typically the finance committee passes over, does not offer a recommendation on items that don't have a financial impact.
Right.
Right.
We
Yeah.
make no, I think we make no.
Make no
recommendation.
recommendation, right? That's what it's,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Yep.
We also
you.
take a vote. We think we take a vote on that too, Karen, don't we?
Yes, we will.
Right,
Yes.
Right, yeah.
Christopher Thrasher, go ahead.
Yes, just as a brief aside, I understood that understanding that the finance committee would probably not take a recommendation here. Ms. Brown, I would be very interested to hear between now and town meeting your thoughts on these changes.
Okay. I can have a discussion with you right now. Do you want to take 3 minutes now, Karen, to talk
Take
about
3
it?
minutes.
Okay.
While you do that, I'm gonna look up last year's recommendations and how we worded it.
Okay,
So
okay,
it's a good
all right, good.
segue.
So my thoughts on it, I mean, I think that the concept, and I have not met with the board as a whole on this. So this is purely my own thoughts. So the personnel board has not met as a body to discuss this article yet. So, and we will in the coming weeks. Personally, my thoughts are that, I think it's an article whose time has come to some degree, that with the addition of the new town administrator and the amped up responsibilities of what now is the assistant to the town administrator, including more human resource training and more human resource interaction and responsibility in that office. I think it's helpful that the Office of the Town Administrator and the Select Board have a much more governing role on this than the Personnel Board. Our staff, we are not in town hall. We are not there seeing what some of the duties are that may overlap. And the number of employees that the Personnel Board covers now is, it's, I don't want to say it's diminishing, but it really is a very small group of employees. I mean, it's only part-time, non-union employees. It does not include employees that have a contract. So, for example, the town administrator, the director of senior services, the IT director. We do not oversee those employees because they're subject to an employee contract that is negotiated directly by the select board. So the scope of employees that we cover is relatively small, and it's kind of awkward because sometimes department heads will come to us and they might talk up a job or use a job description that we really as board members have no familiarity with. So that was really what kind of put me over the edge, that I think that will the personnel board eventually be phased out? Probably as a result of this. I don't see why the personnel board would still be in existence. So I'm very comfortable with it, provided the policy maintains what the personnel bylaws have. I mean, anytime we change a job description, we're supposed to go to town meeting, and then it's subject to approval of town meeting. So you could hire someone in September and not know until town meeting whether or not really the job description that you changed or the pay rate that you set is technically approved. So it's a little bit awkward the way it works right now, needing town meeting approval. So that's kind of my 2 cents to it. Does that
Thank
help?
you very much. Yes, it does very much. My chief concern is making sure that there is still, of course, oversight from the select board ultimately. And it sounds like, if I will say, if you're comfortable with them, it sounds like I'll be comfortable with them. So thank you.
Yeah, I mean, we're like the personnel board, we're not familiar with, all the idiosyncrasies of, FMLA and all the different, protections that are in place for employees. Not that we would ever, knowingly certainly violate them, but, the process would certainly eliminate any any risk of us violating those, but it's still we're kind of on the outside looking in on so many of these situations. And I think that this fix provides a much better transition for the employees involved. I know Gary and I have not had a chance to talk about this, but we will have a meeting again soon.
Yeah, I agree. I think human resources have evolved over the years. Not only that, we're not the board has never been talking about benefits, talking about salary ranges, talking
Right.
about all these things that you need that now. You need it on both sides of the schools and the town to make sure that the town is protected, the employees protected, and the personnel boards are kind of an antiquated way to go about that.
I totally agree, Gary.
All right, so on that note, I will be looking for a motion to make no recommendation on this article.
So moved.
Second.
All right,
Hmm.
if no further discussion, we'll do a roll call for no recommendation. Al,
Al Lee's, no recommendation.
Cindy,
Cindy Brown, aye, no recommendation.
Zach,
Zach LaBrue, aye.
Christopher,
Christopher Thrasher.
Nancy,
Nancy Stanton Cross, no recommendation.
Duncan,
Duncan Law, no recommendation.
Gary,
No recommendation.
Great, and Karen, no recommendation. All right, so Article 26 is very similar. It's the appointment of a tree warden. Again, I don't think that has a financial implication for us that we would need to make a recommendation.
Move no recommendation for Article 26.
Sec. So
Right.
moved.
Thank you. Any discussion? All right, I'll do a roll call. Al,
Al Lee's, aye.
Cindy,
Cindy Brown, aye,
Zach,
no recommendation.
Zach LaBrue, aye.
Christopher,
Christopher Thrasher, aye.
Nancy.
Nancy Stanton Cross, no recommendation.
Thank you. Duncan,
Duncan Law, no recommendation.
Gary,
Yes.
Karen, Karen Rouse, aye. Yes. Oh, we're getting a little, it's hitting us. We're almost at the end. So Article 27 is, amend Article X, whatever X is. I'm sorry, I don't know my numbers. The general
N.
bylaws, oversight, parking restrictions and penalties. So this one actually does have some financial implications. So this is raising the dollars, and it looks like maybe we had a placeholder before, but now it's showing the parking fee would be $200 in here.
That is correct. Yes.
So moved. $200, good.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? My only discussion is I think it should be $500, but okay, if you want to go with
Hear, hear.
200, that seems ridiculously low. Again, if you're going to go through this effort and change to try to make this impactful, that for parking, $200 just doesn't wiggle the needle enough that makes it impactful. That's just-
I would modify this, and I'm just going to toss this out. There is parking violations, $200. I'm okay with 300, whatever it might be. However, the bylaws of the Landing Commission state clearly that you cannot park, a person cannot park over 24 hours. And that's where I would really nail it. That's where I would really say, all right, you want to park overnight down at the Point, for example, 1,000, pick a number. I'm not pushing it, but I just think that needs to be reviewed because we're only dealing with half of the problem on this as I read it.
Mhm.
Well, you also want the Attorney General to approve it. So, sometimes if you throw those big numbers there, then the Attorney General feels that it's usurious for us to charge such high.
So
Amounts.
950, Cindy.
Yeah,
But we'll,
all right.
we'll,
Well,
we'll see if this sticker shock at least
yeah,
abates
I
the
don't
problem.
think this went
Okay.
far enough, but okay, so, anybody else? We have a motion in a second, so, do a roll call. Al,
Aye.
Cindy,
Cindy Brown, aye.
Zach,
Zach LaBrue,
Zach,
I
I think you
think-
said yes, right?
Yeah, he did.
Okay, thanks. Christopher,
Christopher Thrasher, aye.
Nancy,
You're on mute, Nancy. She may have stepped away. Oh,
Sorry,
there-
sorry,
sorry.
I'm back. I wish it was more, but
thank you. Duncan,
Duncan Law, aye.
Gary,
Yes.
Karen Ross, aye. Thank you. All right, so Article 28 is, this one, amend the zoning bylaws. accessory
Oh.
unit. So this one's, we'd not talked about it because it really doesn't have
Right.
direct financial implications. So the zoning, most of the zonings never, don't directly do that. I mean, we can always make the argument validly that everything we do has financial implications, but.
Yeah. Christopher has his hand up.
Christopher, go ahead.
And I was just going to make that exact argument, Madam Chair, as I do every time we get around to these. Anything that would affect, anything that could affect assessments and therefore affect the tax revenues, I think is pertinent. But I understand I may be in the minority of that. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, and just to that point, even if it does affect an assessment, it doesn't change the levy, so it does not bring in additional dollars to the town. So it has implications to individuals, but it doesn't raise the levy to bring more revenue into the town.
Good point.
Yeah.
I move no recommendation.
Great.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, roll call. Al. So this is no recommendation. So Al, go ahead.
Ellie is no recommendation.
Cindy,
Cindy Brown, aye. No recommendation.
Zach,
Zach LaBrue, aye.
Christopher.
Okay, so this is tricky. I vote no to no recommendation.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotta have a little fun once in a while. All right, Nancy,
Nancy Stanton Cross eye.
Duncan,
Duncan Law, aye.
Gary,
No recommendation.
great, and Karen Ross, aye, no recommendation. Okay. Article 29, if we can go down a little. Thank you. So this is amend the zoning bylaws for building height.
I move no recommendation.
Thank you.
Second.
All right, any discussion on this one? All right, roll call. Al,
Ellie is no recommendation.
Cindy,
Cindy Brown, no recommendation.
Zach,
Zach LaBrue, aye.
Christopher,
Christopher Thrasher, no to no recommendation.
Nancy,
Nancy Stanton eye.
Duncan,
Duncan Law, aye.
Gary,
No recommendation.
and Karen Ross, aye. All right, Article 30 is more zoning bylaws. So Article 30 is amend the zoning bylaw for the keeping of dogs.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
We'll see how many people are left in the audience by the time we get to this. But this one will take hours. This could take hours at town meeting. Is it 5 dogs? Is it 6 dogs? Is it 4 dogs? Is it 7 dogs?
Right. All right, so it sounds like it's not a
Motion for
financial
no
impact.
recommendation.
Thank you.
Second.
Any discussion on this? All right, Al,
Ellie's no recommendation.
Cindy,
No recommendation. I wish I didn't have to be present for this discussion at town
Well,
meeting.
maybe you don't have to. Maybe you can
I'll
just
be
walk off
watching
the
you.
stage early.
Zach,
Zach LaBrue, aye.
Christopher,
Christopher Thrasher, no recommendation.
Nancy,
Nancy Stanton Cross, no recommendation. Thank you.
Duncan,
Duncan Law, no recommendation.
Gary,
No recommendation.
and Karen Rouse, no recommendation. Thank you. All right, Article 31 is the amend the zoning bylaws for floodplain regulations.
Oh,
Again.
God.
I'll move for no recommendation, please.
Second,
Any discussion? All right, roll call. Al,
Al Lees, no recommendation.
Cindy,
Cindy Brown, no recommendation.
Zach,
Zach LaBrue, aye.
Christopher,
Christopher Thrasher, no recommendation.
Nancy,
Glad I'm not on the zoning board.
Yeah,
No
no, me too.
recommendation.
Duncan,
Duncan Law, no recommendation.
Gary,
No recommendation.
and Karen Rouse, no recommendation. Thank you. All right, Article, we must be close to the end. Article 32. Oh, we got another one. Amend the zoning bylaws, table of use revisions. Oh, boy. Okay, so again, another,
Oh, this is isn't this to set up some new zones in Adamsville and somewhere else to allow for certain vendors? Yeah, no recommendation. I make a motion for no recommendation.
Second,
any discussion? Roll call. Al,
Al Lees, no recommendation.
Cindy,
Cindy Brown, no recommendation.
Zach,
Zach LaBrue, aye.
Christopher.
Christopher Thrasher, no to no recommendation.
Okay, Nancy,
Nancy Stanton Cross, no recommendation.
Duncan,
Duncan Law, no recommendation.
Gary,
No recommendation.
and Karen Rouse, no recommendation. All right, Article, are we done yet? We're almost done.
Almost.
Article 33, amend the zoning map, village commercial zoning district.
All right. This is what kind of goes along with the previous article. Motion for no recommendation.
Second,
Any discussion? Roll call. Al,
Al Lees, no recommendation.
Cindy,
Cindy Brown, no recommendation.
Zach,
Zach LaBrue, aye.
Christopher,
Christopher Thrasher, no to no recommendation.
okay, Nancy,
Nancy Stanton Cross, no recommendation.
Duncan,
Duncan Law, no recommendation.
Gary,
No recommendation.
and Karen Rouse. Aye, no recommendation. Keep scrolling, and as Chris
Yes.
keeps scrolling, I keep hoping we're done, but
I have one last one. Stacy Lane.
it's the anticipation.
There we go.
Right. Article 34, acceptance of Stacy Lane. Chris, maybe, I know the select board talked about it last night and maybe, can you help? There was, I'm not sure, as far as I understand, the planning board has signed off on it, but it's not signed off on the select board yet. Can you help us out with that one?
Yeah, certainly. So this has been something that's been in the works for several years now. We have a process when it comes to street acceptances. It did go through and the definitive plan was finalized with the planning board. We did have comments from our various departments on the condition of the roadway. One note on this was it did receive conditional approval to move forward. It has an order of conditions that's still out on it. They have to request a certificate of compliance. The discussion at the board meeting on Monday, which was a hearing for the laying out of the street or accepting the street layout. I think the order of conditions is just pertaining to some seeding, grass seed along the roadway, to satisfy the Conservation Commission's concerns there. So they do anticipate that that's going to be done ahead of town meeting. The approval that was made by the select board was conditioned that they got the certificate of compliance through Concom. And as part of the approval, it also has to be done prior to town meeting. So the board won't sign off on it if it's not done in time. So that is the discussion for Monday.
Great, thanks. And this is one that's always, we always struggle with road acceptances because if a road is accepted and it's not complete or work proper by the contractor, then it becomes the town's issue to deal with. And so we've historically, if all the check boxes have been done and the select board is in favor of it, that we've traditionally voted, make the recommendation in favor of it. But this one's always a tricky one. So, or the road acceptances are always a little tricky. So they are financial, of course, but go ahead, Al.
No, you answered my question. I was going to say, what does a private way have to do with, the finances of the town? But you did a great job in explaining that. So I'm good.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So it sounds like it's just all the boxes have been checked subject to seating. So would the committee like to make a recommendation on this at this time? And again, let me just say, if we made the recommendation to recommend this, if before town meeting, if the select board didn't get satisfaction, the finance committee could change its recommendation at town meeting. So if we, for example, if we voted to recommend this, and then assuming that the grass would be taken care of and the contingencies would be released, and then we found out that that didn't happen, the finance committee could change its recommendation at town meeting to be in correlation with the select board.
Move that we move for a recommendation to accept Stacy Lane.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion on that? All right, so we'll do a roll call. Al,
Ali's aye.
Cindy,
Cindy Brown, aye.
Zach,
Zach LeBrew, aye.
Christopher,
Christopher Thrasher, aye.
Nancy,
Nancy Stanton Cross Eye.
Duncan,
Duncan Law, aye.
Gary,
Yes.
and Karen Rouse, aye. Is that the last one?
Yep.
Yeah, we made it. Good job, everyone. Not bad. All right. Wow. Okay. Chris Vitale, you're welcome to stay, but I think we're just going to wrap up our next meeting schedule. If you want to.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll follow up. I think you mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, so the board is just moving forward with preparing the warrant with the inclusion of the articles. So recommendations, draft motions will all be separate this year as a separate handout, a supplemental handout. So anything that the committee here needs. But thank you guys so much. Have a good night.
Thank you so much for all your hard work. So this was a nice, easy process for us this year. So especially with your first time doing this, it's gone very smoothly. So thank you.
No, thank you all. I really appreciate it.
Good job. Yeah.
Thank you. Good job. Thank you. All right. So we're about to wrap up, but we do need to just schedule our upcoming meeting. So the two other now that we've cleared all the warrant articles, which is a tremendous hurdle. So usually in the warrant, there's a one-page summary by the finance committee on the state of affairs of the town. I will say that if I haven't read it recently, but if I read last year's, it would be not different at all to what this one is, but I'll circulate that, and then we can, anybody who has any comments or edits, we can freshen it or let it stay as is. And then the second thing that I typically do is a very high level 5-minute presentation at town meeting. So I would anticipate doing that again. I'll share last year's slides and I'll update it. But again, same story, different year, really nothing, there's nothing different this year than we've had in the past. So I can update that and to see if there's any other comments or thoughts that we would want to include in that presentation. So even though I'm making the presentation, it's really on behalf of the finance committee. So I want to make sure everybody else isn't on board with it as well. So having said that, so we will need one more meeting, and then we will hold a meeting a half hour before town meeting, or meet, just in case there's something that we need to vote on and change a recommendation for town meeting. So we will meet, but not really anticipate having an agenda there, just to meet a half hour before town meeting. So our next, so what works for so town meeting, let's see, is May
5th, I think.
May 5th. So we could either do the 14th, April 14th, or the 21st.
That's election day. April
Oh.
14th is election day,
Oh,
isn't it?
the 14th is the election day? Okay. We could do, does the 21st work for everyone?
That works for me.
2 weeks before town meeting, so by then we'll have the presentation finalized, and then any outstanding issues will the select board will have. Does that work? April 21st?
Yes.
Sure.
Great.
Yes.
Okay.
Karen, while you're noting that, I don't want to lose Nancy. Nancy, I have a question. Did you receive the material I sent to you for the audit committee?
I did.
Okay.
I did not review it.
Okay,
but I
no,
did
that's okay.
receive it.
I just want to make sure that you saw that there will be a meeting next Monday at Town Hall.
Okay, thank you for reminding me.
Okay. That's why I wanted to make.
What time is
note
it
of
at?
Oh boy, I'm gonna say it's at 6 o'clock. If it's
Okay.
if it's not 6 o'clock, I will send you an email.
Excuse
I'll send you an email with the correct time if it's not 6.
Thank you.
Dick Brewer is usually the one that schedules them, and he usually makes them at 6. So,
Okay, thank you.
and it's at Town Hall
Okay,
in the select board's room.
okay, thank you.
And it won't be terribly long.
Do you promise that,
I
Cindy?
promise.
Okay.
I promise.
All right. Okay, so I'm going to ask to pass over the minutes because I haven't even looked at them. I have no correspondence to share. Our next item is meeting schedule topics for next meeting. So we're going to do April 21st. And so for the topics would be town meeting prep. And if anything else comes up to talk about, we'll add that to the agenda.
Will we be discussing that article that we passed over regarding the tax title?
Yes, yes. And so Article 20 as well. So let me make my note. So Article 20, which was the tax title one,
Correct.
and town meeting prep are the two items so far on the agenda. Thank you. Okay. Well, everyone, we made it. Now, what are you going to do with all your Tuesday nights now?
Enjoy them.
Watch the Red Sox. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I know, I like it. All right, well.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. Just thank you, everyone, for your hard work and dedication and coming to all the meetings. And it's a lot of work, but tonight's the night it put it all together. And so thank you, everyone, for staying on, staying firm,
Well-
watching the meetings, paying attention.
And I know I speak
Asking
for
great
everyone else,
questions.
Karen, that I want to thank you and Cindy both, because you're a great tag team for all you do. I mean, it's just remarkable, and you're both so smart and on top of the game. So I'll speak for myself, but I think I speak for everyone else.
Well, thank you, Al.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so we got a motion and a second to adjourn. So this is our last roll call in the night.
Woo!
Al,
I'm sad. But the answer is yes.
Yes.
The answer is aye.
Cindy,
Cindy Brown, aye.
Zach,
Zach LeBrew, aye.
Christopher,
Christopher Thrasher, aye.
Nancy,
Nancy Stanton Cross Eye.
Duncan,
Duncan Law, aye.
Gary.
Yes.
Yes, yes. And Karen Rouse, aye. Good night, everyone.
Good
Thank you
night
again.
and thank
Cheers,
you.